This is the Medical Minutes Podcast on the All Indiana Podcast Network. Your source for the latest news, updates, information, and more from the world of health and medicine. Now, here's Wish TV's medical reporter, Dr. Mary Gillis.
From Wish TV, I'm medical reporter Dr. Mary Gillis, and this is Medical Minutes on the All Indiana Podcast Network. The American Academy of Pediatrics updated its guidelines for mothers who breastfeed for the first time in over a decade. The group still recommends breastfeeding for at least the first 6 months of a baby's life. It now also supports continued breastfeeding infants to 2 years or older. In this week's episode, I spoke with Dr. Cameual Wright, OB-GYN and Vice President Market Chief Medical Officer at CareSource, to get her reaction about the new guidelines. Our conversation is next. Okay, joining me now is Dr. Cameual Wright. Always such a pleasure when she's on with me. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gillis. Always a pleasure.
You know, you're always my go-to with things like this, and I always love your perspective. So the American Academy of Pediatrics guidance suggests that women should breastfeed for 2 years or longer. So what do you make of this updated recommendation?
You know, I think it's wonderful, but also challenging. So we've talked several times on this program about how important breastfeeding is and how breast milk is the optimal nutrition for infants. And that remains the case. The evidence really demonstrates that 6 months of continuous breastfeeding exclusively is really optimal to give the baby those anti-inflammatory, those anti-infectious, and those nutritional elements that they really need as they're growing. What we haven't had a chance to talk much about is the benefit to the mother for breastfeeding. So in addition to the obvious benefits of having a healthy infant, being able to bond with her baby, watching her baby grow and thrive, there are also some health benefits to breastfeeding. And I think that that's one of the things that the new AAP recommendation sheds light on. We know that breastfeeding reduces the chance of breast cancer, also reduces the chance of ovarian cancer and the chance of type 2 diabetes. And obviously that reduction in risk is heightened the longer you breastfeed. So I think those are the benefits that are really highlighted by the AAP's recommendations.
Oh, that's incredible. I mean, also, you know, we think about the infant, but we don't necessarily think about the mother who's breastfeeding, but, you know, sort of works both ways. So great. I mean, this is so insightful. So anyway, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but go ahead.
Nope, that's okay. It is great. It is mutually beneficial for both mom and baby. But I did state that it's challenging because anyone who's breastfed knows that that is quite a commitment in terms of time, in terms of energy, in terms of having that safe space. And that's where the challenge comes in at. For women to be able to breastfeed for that extended period of time, we all need to be supportive. So we need to make sure that moms have paid maternity leave. We need to make sure that if they are working in the workplace, that they have a safe and hygienic place to nurse. We want to make sure that they have proper storage or refrigeration for their breast milk. And we want to make sure that everyone around is supportive. So we want their coworkers to be supportive. We want women to be able to breastfeed in public without the stigma and the stares of others. So I think it's really going to take the community to make this feasible for women.
No apologies. No apologies. This is what my baby needs. This is what I need to do. So anyway.
And I shouldn't have to explain it, right?
Nope, deal with it, you know. So anyway, we hope that people can be, will sort of change their view of this because we're protecting these women out here. We're helping babies. So let's get that message out there to the public who sort of has this sort of a, kind of uncomfortable feeling. Maybe it's not appropriate somewhere, but hey, baby needs food when it needs food, right? It needs to be nourished when it needs to be nourished.
And this is something that's unique to the United States. Breastfeeding is normalized in public in many other countries. So we need to get with the program.
Get with the program. Dr. Wright, I don't Get it, but let's get with the program. Exactly what you said. So I'm very curious of the timing here, because it's been a decade since this has been updated. We do have a shortage of formula. I can't help but think that this might be sort of maybe an impetus to make these changes. I have no idea. Your reaction?
I think it's coincidental. When organizations like the American Academy of Pediatrics puts out recommendations, there's a year of thought that goes behind that, and gathering stakeholders, doing the research, putting together the statement. I do not think that they would put together a statement in response to what is a temporary situation. I think that this has been in the works for a long time, and it just happens to be coming out at this time where we have a critical formula shortage, as we've discussed. I do think, though, that for women for whom breastfeeding is an option, this is just more impetus for them to do so that they're not affected by that formula shortage, and they're able to experience the benefits that we've talked about. So I think that for women who are grappling with how to feed their baby, the timing is great for this. But for some women, we know breastfeeding is not feasible for a multitude of reasons. So we certainly don't want to shame those women or make those women feel guilty. But again, if this is something that is feasible for you, please consider it.
You know what? You're right. I mean, I know you're right. And, it's funny because your last name is Wright. So who would question you?
I like to think that I'm always right, but not everybody agrees.
So anyway, sorry to go off topic. I couldn't help it. Come on, pun intended. All right. So I think that's a great point that you make. I want people, we want people to know that this was not something that just came out of the blue. It wasn't even an impulsive kind of sort of recommendation. This has been years of study. And it just so happened to come out at the time when we're experiencing this shortage. I think is a very important message, Dr. Wright.
Absolutely. So the American Academy of Pediatrics and like academies are extraordinarily thoughtful when they put out these recommendations, and it's backed by years of research and, again, thought leader expertise. So this is not something that they would have put together quickly or released without significant forethought.
And then, Dr. Wright, anything else that you want to say? Your message to mothers, doctors, what do you recommend? What are your thoughts on these new recommendations?
Well, I think I've spoken to mothers in the past to say, if you can breastfeed, please do so. I think this is a time to really encourage the community to rally around mothers. We really need to make sure that women have the support that they need, the resources that they need, the lactation consultants and experts that they need, that they have a safe, hygienic place to nurse, and that we don't stigmatize or criticize women when they're feeding their babies. So I think it's time as a community that we step up, we support moms, and we do what we can to foster healthy babies.
You are so right. I'm thinking out loud here, but I think about, maybe the person who was uncomfortable, but it's the mother who was like, this is my baby. I'm sorry, I don't care what you think. This is my baby.
I don't care.
I don't care. And the thing is, I'll just say this, like just between my mother said, it's like, if you're not going to be at my funeral, I don't care what you think, So
I love that. I love that. I think that babies have to come first.
Oh, of course.
Your comfort is certainly secondary.
Gosh, Dr. Wright, I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to come and talk again today.
Oh, anytime. I will see you soon, speak with you soon. Thank you.
Wonderful. Take care.
This has been Medical Minutes from Wish TV. I'm medical reporter Dr. Mary Gillis. Be sure to follow and subscribe to this podcast and check out new updates every week. You can also learn more at wishtv.com and when you follow Wish TV on Facebook.
This is the Medical Minutes Podcast with Wish TV's Dr. Mary Gillis. Be informed and stay connected for the latest news and information when you like, subscribe, and follow this podcast and discover even more from the All Indiana Podcast Network. Now at allindianapodcast.com.